All right, I want to give you an update of what I've been up to. I'm still walking. I come up with a greeting for everybody when I'm walking, and the greeting is, it's going to rain later. Uh, One of the videos I explained to you how it kept raining Saturdays, yard sales. And say out of 12 yard sales, only two didn't have some kind of rain issue. Well, it rained in the morning, it rained after it had been going on for 2 hours, or it's just spritzed, like misted for part of the yard sale. But uh, little by little, I've been cleaning stuff up, putting stuff away. I made a lot of messes with the different electronic projects, and for the summer, I'm sort of taking it easy, but I'm doing a lot of walking. And I mentioned about different neighborhoods. And the last one I did, I might have mentioned it, was the Regents. And the Regents is like a 50-year-old people to retired people. And they all have garages. And all these buildings are hooked together like row homes. And they're very nice looking. They keep it nice. Their HOA does the lawn, does the bushes. So when you talk to these people, they have to have money in order to be in that neighborhood. And you get some really insightful answers out of them. And I might have, in a past video, I might have mentioned some of the things I've been asking. I did throw away a video, so I have to maybe say stuff a second time. I did a video, and then after I did, I said, I could do that a little bit better. Now, as far as um, yard sales, the person that's out there doing a yard sale usually has a pretty good personality. To want to get all your stuff together and then sell it for next to nothing, you got to be a pretty decent, nice person. That's the first thing. Now, the second thing is when you walk around to different neighborhoods, like in my neighborhood here, you could buy a house here way, way back, 30 something years ago. You could buy a house without a basement. You could buy it without a garage, and you could buy it without a porch. So when you come into the neighborhood and you walk around and they go up for sale, it's very confusing. There's also a 3-bedroom house and a 2-bedroom house. Now, how you can tell the 3-bedroom house, the 2 front windows are spaced apart from each other. The 2-bedroom, the thing. I learned all these tricks so I can explain to people in the neighborhood. They're like, when we bought our house, we didn't realize there was a 3-bedroom. We bought the 2-bedroom, and then they add on to the house, and then their taxes go up. But anyway, so each neighborhood is built on what was farmland, and it's not. I bought a house that was already here. I didn't cause them to close a farm down and build my house. This house was already here. So each neighborhood, depending on as they built them later, they become more expensive to house, and the people that would buy it had to have more money. See, there was a period of time in this section of Lancaster, PA, it's East Lampeter, uh, you could you could buy a house cheaper than you could rent, and there were people that missed out on it. Now my house has gone up $150,000 in a year and a half, and one guy kept picking on me. Oh, you're an idiot for buying a house and all that. Well, he's in his 80s. He still has to go to work every day. He didn't see that point where, like when you lease a car and then you turn it in every 3 years, you never get that period of time where you own it and you run it out. You run the life out of the car and you get those years. The same with renting. When you rent, you never own the house, and then you can run out the clock on the roof and all the stuff. And if they try to evict you, it takes them 3 years versus 3 months. There's a lot involved. But someone asked me about people. Yes, when people have more money, they're more cultured, they have better manners, they have better grammar. It's that simple. So when I say I went over to the Regents and the people are very, very nice over, yes, they are. They're extremely nice because they're doing a yard sale. and they really don't have to do a yard sale. But if you talk to them and stand there for a few minutes, they'll say, I'm putting this stuff up for sale. And whatever doesn't sell, I'm going to pack it up. I'm going to go over to Goodwill and give it to them. I don't want this stuff anymore. And then when you ask somebody, I have this question. One of the questions I ask older people, if you had, someone gave you a few $100s, do you have something you would want to buy? And the answer is no. When you get to a certain age, you no longer are a consumer. You start looking at the things you own as a burden. And the one woman said, what I really would like, I said, yes, what would you really like? She says, you see all this stuff here in the garage? She says, I said, yeah. She says, I would like this all gone. She says, after everybody's done looking at it and the end of the day comes, now she's got to pack it all up and go to Goodwill. But that's what everybody was doing over in the regions. And it was different houses than the last time. So as people get older, they do a yard sale, and then whatever doesn't sell, they pack it up. Now I want to tell you about cut glass. Some people call it crystal. It's a glass bowl. It's got more lead in the glass than normal. And real crystal is they grind it and they put a pattern into it. And Waterford, I think it's Waterford Crystal is the top, one of the top brands. So when you go in the garage, you see 2 tables of this cut glass, sometimes 3 tables, and nobody wants it. And Goodwill basically don't want it either. But you bring them a bunch of boxes, they take the boxes, and then they go through it. But cut glass, real cut glass now, Waterford, yeah, there are people that still hang on to it, but there's real no use for it. Now, one guy I was talking to, he said basically the reason it's so unpopular is you can't put it in the dishwasher; it'll crack. I didn't know that. My mom had a basket. My father one time saved up his money, and then for my mother's anniversary or a birthday, he bought her a basket of cut glass. I got an ant going on in the back here. It looks like something that eats wood. Well, anyway, I don't know if you saw it running on the back in here. Here he comes. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, whenever they don't pay rent, that's it. You don't pay rent, you don't live. I make sure I didn't bump the camera thing. All right. So anyway, the yard sales, I enjoy just talking to people. And a lot of them will tell you their life experience, and some will tell you something you didn't know. And then one guy starts, he says, yeah, Microsoft bought 3 Mile Island, or some company bought 3 Mile Island, and it's going to fire back up again, and they're going to bring the energy all the way over to a building in our town here. Was I got to make sure I say the right name. Donnelly, maybe Donnelly. It was a company that printed phone books and books. Well, that's died. So little by little, they closed down. Well, that big building is going to have AI computers in it, and it's going to be powered by 3 Mile Island exclusively. 3 Mile Island, when it powers up, isn't going to sell energy to the public. Well, it's going to sell if you have an AI system. They'll sell you the electricity. But a lot of weird things. And I met that guy, and then later on, I met some other guy. He was putting lights in the shopping mall, and I was telling him about I told you the story about the electrician not knowing he had to put the mercury vapor light in level, and you can't touch it with your fingers. And this kid knew this. He goes, yeah. He says, sodium lamps, high pressure sodium. That sounds about right. He says they basically the same thing. When you put them in, you don't handle them with your hands. And he was taking those out, and he's putting LED ones in. So I kept saying, this guy that owns the shopping mall is actually putting money into something. And because I know him through somebody else, and this guy says no, he gets a big tax break if he does it, the saving energy type of thing. They still have those programs for big companies, but as far as like walking around and meeting people, it's amazing. And my latest start a conversation thing is I say, hey, you know what the new greeting is? And they go, what? Instead of hi and hello, it's going to rain later, and it has. Now today they're talking it's going to rain later, so it is pretty funny. And then as I walk through certain areas, I'll hear a guy yell across the street, "It's going to rain later." It's pretty funny, but we've had unbelievable amounts of rain, and not a lot of rain, but just it just shows up at the wrong time. And I told you one of my big hobbies is going for a walk and stopping and talking to people. And I did. I told you I met this woman, and she was from back in New Jersey, and we had this great conversation going. And then this guy came along who was an HOA guy from the one neighborhood, and I'm talking to her. I'm not talking to him. I'm talking to her, and he starts butting in. I said to her, I said, "Yeah, I really miss the sandwich shops back in New Jersey." I'm talking every few blocks in certain areas. There's a sandwich shop on the corner. We have them here, right? You don't. You don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you have a sandwich shop. You have I don't even think they have Blimpie here. But we lost T. Burke here. Uh, Arby's, we have an Arby's. That's not what I'm talking about. But T. Burke was just what I was talking about. That's 3 miles away from here. I used to walk over there and get a roast beef sandwich. That sold and then closed down during COVID. But this guy doesn't understand what a real sandwich shop is. The people The people cook the roast beef, the pork, and the pulled pork. It's just wonderful when you want a really nice sandwich. Well, anyway, I've been going over that neighborhood, and then finally I bumped into the woman again, and this time she had a big clock ticking away on her cell phone. And she's pointing to that. She's like, I want to get done by a certain time. I said, you're retired. And she was totally different. And then you basically, she's divorced and she's bitter. And there's like 4 of them over there. And yeah, they got just to right up to retirement. And then the guy basically says, I'm going to be home, but I don't want to be home with you. And they get divorced. I'm like, holy crap. And then the one woman, she's got 75%. She's from California. She has 75% of the guy's Social Security. She's collecting it, and she's like laughing. Yeah, he has to. She's getting his Social Security. I think he still has to work. But I've talked to her a few times, and when she told me that, yeah, I don't walk with her anymore. There's some really evil people out there, but if you really want to understand people, do a few yard sales. And you got to remember that person that's doing the yard sale is different than regular people because they're willing to gather all the stuff up, put it out on a table, and then have basic prices in their head. And then they work with you if you want to buy something. The average person doesn't want to get involved with that. So you're dealing with someone that just wants to get rid of the stuff and give it to someone that might want it. And then when that doesn't work, they take it over to Goodwill. Now what's in the frame here? This is an engraving tool or a graver tool. And what this is you basically hold it like this. All right? And you engrave the back of a watch. And, it's what the jewelers used to do way back. And there's articles. See, I bought it to help me with some circuit boards, just certain circuit boards. Now, a lot of you would say, oh, you got to get a CNC. I have a CNC machine. I can engrave with my CNC machine. I was one of the first people to do it. I sold the plans for the thing. It was called a PCB mill 25 years ago. Then it became the Brute. I have to say these things because the comment section, oh, you could buy a Chinese. Blah, blah. Yeah, you got to know how to do the software. I know how to do the software. Do you? And I'm a perk board guy. If I know I'm going to build just one of something, I lay it out on perk board. I build it. It's done. You've seen my projects, the Huff and Puff oscillator, all that stuff. I want to see it work. I want to be able to put the scope on it. I don't want to spend 3 weeks designing a circuit board, sending it away electronically, having them send it to me and realize how many mistakes I made. I put up with those people when I was doing the CNC stuff. I finally supplied a circuit board that was milled, and then later on I had it made in Texas. And there were so many people that wanted to build the entire machine themselves, and they start screwing up. And the original people finished. And then as time went on, you got the dreamers show up. And how come you don't make the machine bigger? I said, well, what do you need it bigger for? I don't know. I just want it bigger. See, that's what killed my CNC hobby, was the people that want a giant machine, never learn the software, never finish it, never put it together, and they want the machine bigger even though they have no use for it. And there were those guys that did that with the computer. When I always build computers from scratch. Then I bought like a Commodore 60, a VIC-20. Then I had an IBM clone, and I bought it. Each one of my specifically bought the computer, one to do resumes and to be able to print them out. See, my sister was a typing shorthand teacher, and I'd say to her, I need some resumes. So I'd type out the resume, give it to her. She would dictate it at school, and then bring me 10 of them back that were perfect. But she'd hold it over my head for favors. And then finally I said, you know what? I had to type out the original one so I can type into a computer, save the file. And that's when I went on, and then I got into running the bulletin board system for like 4 years, and Echo Mail, and teaching people how to do Echo Mail and quick packets, and the whole thing. It went off, and I did do resumes with it, and I did get contacts for work, but a couple places, they're not supposed to tell you, but they told me straight out, you're too old. The one company, the guys interviewed me, and they said, we'll call you to start and the whole thing. And then the guy called up, and he says, the guy said, you're too old. He says, I'm going to tell you. He says, my boss says you're too old, even though you can do the job. And then he said, he told me to tell you that we found someone within the company that could do the job. And I said, yeah, it's okay. But it was a job I could actually get on a bus and go there. Now, a guy I knew got me into ShopRite. And that was messed up on its own. I don't want to go into all the ShopRite stories, but when you work those kind of crappy jobs, you get treated like crap. They did have a certain amount of respect for me, but basically they'll cheat you on your overtime. They'll cheat you. You gotta stay on top of them. And when you're working night shifts, you become so tired, you just can't think straight. But I had to fill out the sheet and sign it, and then it would go upstairs before I would leave. And the other guys knew to leave 10 minutes early and get the sheet. I leave on time, but the girl had sent the sheet up, and I had to go upstairs and wait. And the woman was real annoying. And at some point, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sell my house and get the hell out of New Jersey. But it's really funny. While I was working the ShopRite, I kept going to a place that was a Food Basics. And the guy strung me along. I'll come back Thursday. I want to talk to you some more. I come back Thursday, talk to him. Well, I don't know right now. Maybe next. He kept stringing me along. And they went out of business. So if I had gotten a job with him, it would have lasted 2 years. And I would have been looking again. But I could walk to that Food Basics in Belleville. And the other store was in Nutley. And I had to walk into Belleville, catch a bus over to Nutley. Now, I can walk that far, but getting there, I'd be all sweaty and tired. But it all worked out for me in the long run. Now I'm telling you, I'm trying to help people in the neighborhood, and weird things happen. Like the people, they can't pay for their garbage removal. So I take my garbage can over there, and I have the guy put so many bags in mine, and I wheel it back. And then twice, my garbage removal company didn't come. They came the wrong day, and it caused this other guy to put his garbage out and bring it back in. And then I'm talking to him, and it turns out the other guy in the corner, he messed up on his payments. So we had two houses. without garbage removal. And the first guy put his garbage into the second guy's bin, and then when they didn't take it because he didn't pay the bill, he went over and took it back out. So I went by the house. There's all this garbage on the side of the house. And I'm like, we can't have this. So I went home and got my bin again, brought it over, and I'm talking. And then he told me that the other guy forgot to pay his bill or couldn't pay his bill or whatever. But we had 2 weeks where the garbage removal company didn't come the correct day. And, you know, my garbage can right now, it's full to the top. And I'm trying to clean stuff up, but I don't have the room because I'm leaving the room for somebody else. And this guy here, I've been helping him different things. And he come over and mowed my lawn. And I said, look, I don't want you doing that. You know, first of all, he mows too low. So I let the lawn go one extra day because I knew it was going to be cooler. And then I cut my height and the lawn would look good. It's crabgrass, but it will look good. Where he mows real low, and when he's mowing, you see dirt coming up. I don't want that. And I told him, please don't mow the lawn again. But him and his wife, they'd give me like Christmas cookies, and Thanksgiving they gave me food, and you know, I help them in return. I see them helping other people, I help them in return, and that's where I'm at now. And also, there was a guy in the neighborhood. He was going to be a millionaire. For 6 years, I listened to him. He was going to be a millionaire and all this. And he just disappeared in the middle of the night. He was renting. And then I went looking and I realized that all the stuff he was talking about, he did like 3 years ago. And it was all bullshit. And I didn't call bullshit on him. What I did one time was he had his phone. He shows you real quick all this stuff that's on the phone. And it's on the phone. It's not on the internet. And then I realized there was something wrong with him. And then he said he was buying a new car. Car never showed up. He has no car. And little by little, you know, you catch on. You're like, and then all of a sudden, where is he? What? And I went over there to never go. Oh, he just disappeared. He left a message to say goodbye to the guy that rents to him. I'm like, he got evicted. So yeah, and he was paranoid. He had some weird shit going on there. But my favorite hobby is walking, and I know so many people. And in Jersey, let's just say, in my area, I knew 15 people who I'd stop and talk to them. It's ridiculous here. I must know 1,000 people here. And they know me as being a person they can talk to if they have a problem. Because a lot of people don't talk to each other anymore. I don't know if you noticed it. Some people say it's because of COVID. There's a lot of videos on YouTube of how people have changed since 2002. And I noticed that with the dogs. When I'm in the park, a guy I know will be walking the dog. And the dog never barked at me years ago. And now they're barking. And because they're not being socialized enough. And yeah, there are people that are starving for someone to talk to. But no one wants to be the uncool person. And it's funny, I'll be talking to someone. And somebody else will go by. And they'll make a comment. Yeah, I'll admit, I'm chatty. I was vaccinated with a phonograph needle. God, keep making funny. In my mind, they stand there and they get kind of nasty like that. The next time I see them, you know what they get? They get a wave. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I got to go. Goodbye. And they learn that way. See, you can go through life thinking you're really cool and you don't need anybody else. But then when something happens, you know, I had one woman, I talked to her about something. She didn't care. I don't care. I don't care. Then one day she's over here. What are you doing over here? Your neighbor's over there. Oh, they egged my house last night. Yeah, I heard all about it. Your daughter's been mouthing off at the kids at school, and a bunch of them got together. She's a bully. They came over to the house, and they egged the house, and they don't own it. They're rented. So the poor landlord had to come over and get a company to come clean the eggs off the house. But I heard from someone else. Yeah, that girl's been bullying people at school. And a bunch of the kids after school, I waited till it got dark and they egged the house. And she's over, I need some help. I knew a whole story before she even came across the street. And I just said to her, look, remember I was here one time and I asked you about block watch? Do you look out for the neighborhood? I don't have time for that. Well, we don't have time for you now. The look on these people's faces, like when I just tell, I don't care anymore. Did you ever see Rick Gervais, where he does the awards. I don't care. I don't care anymore. Oh, that's great. He does a great routine. 5 years, they had him do the awards, and he picks on the people, and just the look on Tom Hanks's face, because he's so pure. And Ricky Gervais, right? He did the Office in Britain, and then the other guy. You got to watch it. It's pretty funny stuff. But I'm morphing my hobbies a little bit over, and then when winter comes, I might start up an electronic project. I'm noticing Shango's doing transistor radios, and I have several people that I watch on YouTube, and I'm noticing they're getting tired of doing what they're doing, but they're making money with their website or their channel. I'm not looking to make money. Someone suggested making another channel and put a certain type of video over there. I'm not doing that. I do a video when I'm in the mood, then I publish it, and that's it. I forget about it. Every once in a while, somebody will be telling me, "Oh, I really like that video." And I'm like, "What video?" And I'm looking, I don't even remember it. I told you, whenever I basically experience something, then I'll tell you. Now, I want to tell you, if you look up engraving tools, forget the bit, just the handle. Everybody sells this. I might have done a video on this once before, but here's the one that this one here takes a special bit, and it's real cheap, and it's cut. Just I guess that's supposed to give you more grip. I don't know what's going on with this thing, but in other words, this is what I wanted, and this has weight to it, and this is just junk, and it takes a special bit. This takes the modern bits. Just so you know, something I learned, I'm passing it on to you, but it's for making real simple circuit boards. You lay out your traces with a Sharpie, and then you come in here, and you should practice first, and you can make isolations, squares, circles, and that's the pad where your transistors meet up, and they call that Chicago construction, New York construction, Manhattan construction. Maybe it's Manhattan. Nah, doesn't sound right. Well, anyway, there are places that sell these little squares that you solder onto a piece of circuit board, and then you connect between them. But it's just easier to take a piece of circuit board and to cut the square out using a graver tool. I don't think they call it an engraving tool. They call it a graver's tool. It's weird. It's a bunch of men that used to engrave backs of clocks, dedications and stuff like that. And this is the tool they use. You engrave happy 50th anniversary, happy 25 years with the company. And now they use, the spinning bit like a Dremel, and they have a machine that does it. It's probably CNC now. But this is the old thing, and this is a modern version of this thing. And, I used it twice already for something else. But it is what it is. I think that's it. That's it for now. All right, that's it.